this video, we're going to be switching out these old style halogen lights with these new cool LED looking lights. These are from an F56 version of the car. This is an R56. Should really upgrade the look of the car, make it look way more modern. I'm excited to get these on and see how they look. The version that I purchased is a Spec-D tuning lights. These are about $250 to $350 depending on how good of a sale you find. They should be a direct bolt-on. Other than high beams, for the high beams you have to do some modification, as well as for the LED that goes around. We're going to look into that and see what we can do. While these look like xenon or LED lights, these are actually halogen lights. This is the version you have to purchase unless you want to modify the wiring harness on your car. The LED part has to be wired separately, and I'll show you how to do that. I wasn't able to find any instructions from the manufacturer or online, so that'll be interesting to figure out. Let's see what it's going to look like after. The reason I'm replacing mine is not only for the look, but also because these are worn out. As you can see, there's a lot of hazing. I know that's fixable. I know you can polish them and make them look as new. I still don't really like this huge yellow reflector on the front, and these just make the car age for me. As you can see, it's even worse on this side, very hazed. I decided just to replace them instead of fixing it. As you can see in this car, it's pretty easy to remove the headlight. I just removed 3 wall bolts and this is already moving. There's one more holding it in that corner, so I'm going to get that one next. Now I'm just going to unclip this wiring harness right here. That's it, the headlight's out. Now I have my new headlight. I'll remove the film. Put it in position very carefully. After looking at completely useless instructions that came with the headlights, there's nothing about the actual headlights. This is just about condensation. Nothing to do, and it just says connect black wire to ground wire, and then connect white wire to driving lights, and then just contact your auto shop if you don't know what you're doing. The headlight that's in the pictures is nothing to do with what I have, and the colors that they're mentioning, black and white. Well, I have black and green that come off, and then this little pigtail that comes off from here that doesn't really go anywhere. Not really sure what this is for. I checked, and on the car where these pins go on this side, there's nothing connecting on the car's connector. Like, there's no pins in there, so those are pretty much useless. But what I've done so far to figure out what to do with these, what they actually do, is, sorry about that, is I took this 10.8 volt battery from my drill and just connected those 2 wires, and turns out that's your daylight or the halo light. I think I'm going to connect it just as an addition to the main light. Whenever I drive at night, I don't really need my headlights on when I'm driving during the day. So let's see if that's gonna work. Now I'm back at the car, and I see that I only have 4 wires in here. These top 2 are the one for the actual headlight. There isn't a separate wire for daylight lights or anything, so I'm just gonna hook up the daylight lights to the regular lights as well. So it's gonna run all from one, and that's all you're gonna have to do. This is for the turn signal, the bottom 2, which is already configured. If this car had separate daylight running lights, then you could, connect those 2 to a different wire to be coming here or here, but this car doesn't have that. I thought about connecting it to the fog lights, but then you have to turn it on manually every time to get the daylight running lights. So this time I only installed one of the headlights. The other one's still the old OEM one. Now looking at the beam, doesn't look very good honestly. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to adjust it as there's no instructions. Definitely don't want it to be pointing in the sky in people's eyes as this part would do. It should basically kind of cut off right here as that one does right there. Well, I connected the headlight and the high beam was on basically at all times. So I took it back out, took it apart, and as you can see, the red wire is attached to the blue wire. And then on this one, red's connected to red for this, what I assume is to be a resistor. So that's not fantastic. Guess I'm gonna have to redo these, and obviously I did not do these myself. This is what it came like from the factory. It's a couple days later, and as you can see, I already changed the one on the left side, my left side. It took me probably a couple hours just to get it to work. Some of the wires were crisscrossed, so just constantly be on full beam, couldn't understand what's going on. I tried to adjust it for probably half an hour and just wouldn't adjust. So that took a while. Since these headlights have no instructions whatsoever, other than the ones that I've shown, which aren't actually related to these headlights, it took me a while to figure it out, but I'm actually pretty happy with how they look. I think the look is really good. They do throw out pretty good beam, as well as the LED surround. That looks really good as well. I'm gonna show you how to change it, how to actually change it in all the process that has to be done on the right one, since this one's already configured, and then I'm gonna adjust it to make sure the adjustment's level and not shining in anybody's, eyes when I'm driving at night. So the way I'm gonna make sure that both of them are leveled properly and they're not gonna shine in anybody's eyes for the oncoming traffic is I still have the old one in right there, and I have the new one installed on the left side. So I just closed the garage door and turned the lights on. And as you can see, this one needs just a little bit of adjustment, maybe twist it that way a little bit and rise it just a tiny bit up. Other than that, it's actually pretty good alignment. This is already after probably 10 minutes of kind of messing with it to get it to this point. I'll include some clips of what it looked like before. The way you adjust these headlights is by these two screws in the back. So I just use a drill and kind of screw them in. There's also a height adjustment all the way in there. I just made sure they're exactly the same before I put the headlights in, just because it's kind of very difficult to get in. I will need to raise it up just a couple inches, so maybe half a turn on here. I think I'll be able to manage that just by kind of putting my fingers in there. It's pretty tight, but that should work. All right, so I've adjusted the left one to be more evenly matched with the one on the right, which is the OEM. Looks pretty good, I think. Can't get it perfect, but it's close enough. Now I'm just going to replace this one on the right and match it to the new one on the right side. On the left side. To get these headlights ready, I had to crimp these green and black connectors. These are for the daylight running lights. So I had to crimp them. The green one went to the blue one, which is the same. Well, in this car, it just turns on at the same time when the normal headlights are turned on, as it doesn't have a separate wiring harness for that. And the negative black one just goes to any black one as well. I also had to switch these two, as on one of them blue was connected to red and red was connected to blue, so they were just switched. That's a mess, but I have to fix that as well to make sure those work. Then the next thing is you have this adjuster that goes right in there that sets your height. I recommend making them exactly the same on both headlights before you actually put it in. That way it's a lot easier to adjust. You don't have to kind of mess with it while it's in the car, where it's very, very difficult to get your hands in or anything else. If you do want to replace the bulb, It's right in there, pretty easy access. I will be doing so later on, and this time I'm just going to install them and run them as is. But that's about it. I'm also going to wrap it in some electrical tape, just because there's a few connectors like this one that have maybe not wires exposed, but it's, you know, water can get in there and there's some corrosion. They can get started. And they also have this piggyback wire harness. Don't know what it's for. It's just kind of here. It's, I don't know, it doesn't plug in into anything, so I will not wrap that as well, so the water doesn't get in there and short anything out. That's about it. That's all it takes to take out a headlight on a Mini Cooper S. Right, well, I've adjusted these adjuster screws right here. There was included a smaller one, which this is it. This is the smaller one, so I adjusted this one. Replaced this one and screwed in just enough. This is going to be touching in here, and judging from the other one, we only need a little bit of standoff. Same thing on these. I screwed them out as much as I could, but and still leaving a couple of millimeters space just so it can be installed, and kind of held on. Let's get it installed. It should be pretty easy. Just kind of drops in. I'll get one of these just to hold it in place so it doesn't fall on me. So they're all loosely screwed in. As you can see, it needs a little bit of adjustment, not much, but the gap here is a little bit smaller than it is here, so I'm going to move it up. Alright, well, that was too far. So as you can see, now it's far to the right, so we're going to just go to the left a little bit. Alright, I think that looks perfect. It's pretty much the same. Maybe a tiny bit, maybe it needs a little bit to the left, but I think that looks really good. As you can see, they just need a little bit of adjustment. Actually, not that much. I'm gonna have to raise this one up a little bit, lower this one, and that's gonna be pretty much it. Alright, I think that's pretty well adjusted. I know this side is slightly too high, but I don't think that's that much of a deal, big of a deal. I'll drive around and see how it looks. I'll see if it kind of goes where it shouldn't. As you can see, the headlights are now all changed. I've changed both of them, adjusted, made sure they're all even, that they look good. I think it actually gives the car a much better look. The car looks a lot more modern. I know it's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but as you can see, this is very, you know, nice bright LED. Looks really good. The inner one's a little yellow, but that one's going to be changed to match the surrounding hue of white. But I think it looks really cool. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a good mod for some older cars? Was it a waste of money and time? It did take me a long time to get this installed. The instructions weren't very good. A lot of it was kind of a guessing game at first until I kind of really start realizing how it's set up. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the car.